What you see here is the basic setup of the board for beginners, as illustrated in the rule book. And I'm going to give you a few pointers about where to set up your first two settlements in the basic game of Settlers. First thing you want to do is determine the best spot on the board. If you're fortunate enough to get the first placement, you'll most likely want to place your first settlement on the spot that has the most dots. This spot has 5 dots, and these are dots that represent the probability of an 8 being rolled. That means there's 5 different combinations for 2 dice to come up with an 8. So if you're able to count the number of dots on the intersection of a given spot, you'll be able to determine which spot is the best. So that spot has 12 dots. Here's another good spot, but it's got 11 combined dots. So in this way, this spot would be slightly less favorable than the other one. The great thing about this game is that the board will change every time you play the game. Being the third person in a 3-player game to place their settlement has its advantages because you get to go twice. If I were playing this game, I would most likely put my first settlement here and my second one here. Both of these spots have decent numbers, and the strategy that I would be using is the wheat and ore strategy. I'm going to be focusing on building cities, buying development cards, and trying to get the largest army. If you're the blue player and you're about to place your second settlement, my advice would be to make sure that you get a good brick spot. You have a 6 on the wood, so you're going to get a lot of wood during the game. So you might as well try to pursue the longest road and build settlements and let that be your strategy. There's a couple choices for where blue can go at this point. My preference would probably be here. You're able to get a decent brick number to complement your 6 wood number, as well as have access to wheat there as well. The other thing I like about this initial setup for blue is you have 2 decent numbers on sheep, and you can start heading towards the sheep port at 2 to 1. Unfortunately, if you're orange, the board is already getting crowded. The second spot for orange is a little tricky. Ideally, you'd like to be on a good wood number, but that's just not the case as it is right now. You have a few options. A decent alternative for orange's second spot would be this 6-4-11 spot, and head towards the ore port. The only downfall is you don't have any access to wheat. The other option that orange has is this 4-9-11 spot. You start the game, you'll get wheat, wood, and sheep, and you have access to all 5 resources. The downside of that spot, of course, is that the numbers aren't as good.